Well, I certainly never thought Bigfoot, of all things, would ever find its way into the Cars franchise. But here we have a Bigfoot Hunter Cars diecast. That is, of course, Griswold from the Legend episode of Cars on the Road, of course, the new Disney Plus TV series that came out back on September 8th on Disney Plus. But anyways, welcome on back to the Cars Garage, everyone. I'm so excited to get this car opened up. One of my favorite cars, possibly my favorite one, actually. The only reason I would say otherwise is because she is a little similar to another car that's been released before. I may have just said she, but no, I'm pretty sure this guy is a he. Pretty sure, at least. Although, we can't really be sure. Now, his voice actor is actually a woman, so I don't know. I'm not really sure if that means anything. Sometimes it does. But just look at Bart Simpson. He is voiced by a woman as well. So, I mean, I think they just do that sometimes to make a high-pitched, old man-sounding voice. I do believe he is a male, though. Just by the way he talks, sometimes a little more gruff, and his appearance definitely resembles that of a male's, I would say. But then again, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with the car. But anyways, of course, new for 2022. Doesn't really matter anyways, because, I mean, it doesn't really play an impact on his character in the show. But anyways, very cool artwork on this one. Absolutely love it. But of course, this guy is pretty similar to Bill Revs, who is another car that's been released. Just a background character, nothing too special. I believe it was released in 2018 or 19. Of course, they are both the same model. They're both pretty much the same color. But Griswold here actually plays a big, pretty important role in the series of Cars on the Road. And Legend episode, I have to add, one of my favorite episodes. I just thought that one was so much fun. If you know me, you know that I love Bigfoot. And I don't believe in a Bigfoot. But I love the whole idea of Bigfoot, the old Sasquatch. And of course, I love the show Mountain Monsters, which is just a funny show about hillbillies hunting Bigfoot. And there's a lot of seasons. I actually have another channel called The Mountain Man, which revolves around that show. So if you want to check that out, make sure to. But anyways, yeah, Griswold doesn't really like connected to that show at all. Of course, it's not that popular of a show. But this episode, the whole Bigfoot episode, was definitely a parody of, I believe, the X-Files it's called. I think it's more of a paranormal show. It's not as funny or lighthearted as Mountain Monsters. But I believe that's what they were kind of basing it on, because it's more popular, I guess. Although, like I said, I've never heard of it. I've heard of it, actually, but I've never watched it or anything. But yeah, here is Griswold in her packaging. Of course, we have the map in the background. Now, we've already taken a look at that with our review of Speed Demon the other day. Of course, as seen in Cars on the Road. It's funny how they put that there. It's not really needed, but, you know, it's kind of like how they do with the regular main line of cars. But anyways, we got Racing Center Cruiser Mirrors on the back. Road Trip McQueen. K-Pillar Durev. Speed Demon. There's Griswold for some reason. And then Royce Revsley. So, pretty nice selection of cars, although not very many. Other than these cars, there's only a few others. Of course, Revo Cost, Dad's Jammin', Mater. But there's not very many that's been released so far. Just as singles, at least. But anyways, I do have a second Griswold right here in the package. This one's on better card. So we'll be opening this one today. I got them both from an Australian eBay seller called Avalon Kids, I believe. Pretty expensive though. It ended up becoming almost like $18 to $20 a car. And I bought these ones and then some of the other Cars on the Road ones. But it was a Christmas present. But it ended up being so much money because they ended up charging me more fees just to pick it up. It's across the border, I guess, but anyways, that's a lot of money for these cars. But I think that if anything, Griswold will be one of the more rarer ones from this original, 2022 assortment of Cars on the Road diecast. Or her and probably Rusty's Cruise, or maybe Dad's Jammin', who knows. They're right now, at least online, they seem to be the more expensive ones. But Griswold's so cool, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just open up this Cryptid Hunter right now. Well, here's this crazy looking cryptid hunter all out of his packaging here. And in case you didn't know, Griswold, the name, is actually based off of the Griswold family, I guess, in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is an old Christmas movie from the 80s. But I've heard a lot about it, but I don't really know. Never really watched it or anything. Very interesting that Pixar decided to base Cars on the Road character off of that. I don't think that's a Disney property. I'm not really sure though. But and actually that family in the movie drives a station wagon very similar to Griswold. So I thought I'd point that out. Kind of interesting there. I know someone who likes that movie by the name of My Review Show. But anyways, yeah, very cool car. I just love the whole idea of Bigfoot in the Cars world. But what I didn't like so much from that episode is that Pixar didn't try even the slightest bit to carify the Sasquatch at all, the Bigfoot. I don't know why. I really don't. They've always carified, you know, like things that like aren't really real in the Cars world, like the Easter Buggy, of course, from the Easter Bunny, Santa Car, Santa Claus, but Bigfoot, just Bigfoot. I don't know why they didn't call him Big Wheel. I think that would have made much more sense. I like that he was a monster truck, but I just don't understand. Like, he doesn't have feet, so why call him Bigfoot? I guess they just wanted to make it more general so people would actually know and not be confused. Think, oh wait, what is a big wheel? I don't know. I mean, I guess, but in the same breath, it's like, I don't think people are that stupid. I think they could put two and two together and realize Big Wheel is probably just a carified Bigfoot. But whatever, still a very cool episode. Of course, we never get to see the Bigfoot. Is he real? Is he not real? Who knows? He's probably not real, though. He's definitely not real in the real world. But, yeah, like I was talking earlier, the show Mountain Monsters, it's a very funny, hillbilly-ish show. There's 8 whole seasons, waiting on season 9. And Griswold just has a striking resemblance to the researcher on the team, this old man with full of white beard. Of course, his name is Jeff Headley, whatever you want to call him. But, yeah, he's the researcher, and he uses his thermal, and he even talks in a similar way to Griswold. I just thought it was funny that Griswold and Jeff share so many similarities to each other. If you don't know what this show is, I would definitely recommend checking it out, because it's pretty funny. But anyways, yeah, Griswold here, of course, it's an orange station wagon. I believe on the website it said she's from Brawny Motor Co's. Very interesting expression, though. I mean, she looks pretty happy. He looks pretty happy. I don't know how many times I'm probably going to say she when I know he's a he. I think, at least. I'm not really sure. But it doesn't really matter anyways, for the sake of this review. But anyways, of course, cool roof rack on the top. Has some luggage, kind of like Van's luggage that he has, the green van from Cars. Nice little, like a big light right there on top, which is pretty useful in the episode for Griswold. He uses it quite a bit. Another little light down here. Looks like a camera right here. Pretty cool. Like, he's all equipped, fully equipped with all kinds of equipment to catch this Bigfoot, of course. And then probably his most iconic accessory that he has is, of course, this giant microphone. Very similar to Derek Williams, who we just reviewed not too long ago. His giant microphone. Not very detailed. I don't know if it should have a different color on it. I guess not. Actually, I'm looking at his artwork. It is completely black, so good job there, Mattel, I guess. Unfortunately, he does have a plastic bumper. And, I mean, yeah, it's a bit plasticky looking, unfortunately. No rust on the artwork, though, so I guess, yeah, I would have thought Griswold would have been more rusty, but he is not at all, really. Actually, nope, he is a little bit on the back. Once again, very plasticky looking bumper. Thailand loves to do that, though. Did the same thing on Bill Revs, who we'll compare him to in a second here. But yeah, of course, Griswold is part of the Bigfoot hunting group. Consists of 3 members, of course. Clutch Humboldt, which is the big RV. And then Margaret Motorray, that's that Land Rover. And then, of course, Griswold himself. And they are part of the group called the Wayne County Cryptid Busters, and that's why I'm showing his side right here, because there is their logo. Looks like, is that the Mothman? There's a lot of cryptid creatures out there. Who knows if any of them really exist? Probably not. The Wayne County Cryptid Busters. I can't really read that. It's a bit blurry. I think it says initials or something. Looks like a hood with wings or something. I'd assume that's probably supposed to be the Mothman, which is another legend of folklore. But yeah, I think that's really cool that they mixed in actual folklore into the Cars world. That's pretty cool. Pretty clever. And actually none of the monsters are carified, because Mater in that episode is actually naming some of them. He's explaining to McQueen what a cryptid is, basically. And he says the Mothman. What else does he say? Chupacabra, I think. But there's a few other ones he says, I think. And then, of course, you're a Bigfoot, he says. The most fearsome one of the group. But yeah, Mater and McQueen obviously encounter these Cryptid Busters because they're just having a nice night at the campground, the Wayne County campground. Just pulling instead of going to a rest stop, I guess. And McQueen just wants to have a fun night with Mater. But Mater finds some new friends. And they're not the friendliest of friends. Basically, they want to take McQueen and Mater into their group, make them official members of the Wayne County Cryptid Busters group, and, you know, make them honorary Bigfoot hunters, I guess. But there's some pretty cool variants of McQueen and Mater. Mattel just hasn't made them yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. Hopefully soon, though. So yeah, Mater is really eager. He really wants to join this Bigfoot hunting group for the night. McQueen does not want to at all, but he gets dragged into it, and they end up going hunting for Sasquatches. But then McQueen actually comes across Ivy, the monster truck, and then Mater and McQueen team up with Ivy after she captures them for a little bit, until she realizes they're not actually Bigfoot hunters. And she was basically just pretending to be a Bigfoot the whole time, because she just wants to be alone up in the woods in her cabin, and she wants these Bigfoot hunters to stay away. But they just don't stop. They just keep coming back. So McQueen and Mater have to help Ivy get these cryptid hunters away from her and get them to stay away from her cabin for good. And they actually do. They actually lean into the paranormal side of the whole Sasquatch thing. And they pretend that Bigfoot is an alien. McQueen dresses up like an alien. And they actually pretend to siphon Mater's insides. Yeah. Basically scare them off and the Bigfoot hunters don't come back. Rather than scaring off the Bigfoot, who knows if he's out there in the Cars world? I would say he probably is. If an Easter buggy and Santa car can exist, then why can't a Sasquatch? I really don't understand. I think that would have been so cool if in the very end of the episode, when McQueen and Mater are driving off with Ivy down the highway, it would have been so cool if an actual Bigfoot like came from behind the trees and just stared at them or something. We didn't have to see his face, but just like a Bigfoot monster truck. I think that would have been so cool. I don't know why Pixar didn't do that. There was a lot of missed opportunities with this episode, but for what it was, I think it was pretty fun, because I never thought we'd get anything even close to this in the Cars franchise. So I mean, it's pretty cool for what it is. Cars on the Road was definitely a bit underwhelming, but I think it was still enjoyable for the most part. Anyways, here is Bill Revs, one of the most similar cars that you can get to Griswold. Of course, his coloring is different. All of his rust detailing is different. Yeah, this is all rust. What the heck was I saying? I thought that was all mud, but no, that is rust. Different expression, of course. Still got that plastic mouth plate. Same model, I think, for the most part. Now, Griswold actually has real headlights. Of course, you probably got those changed. Probably LED ones to see them Sasquatches in the night. But Bill Red's just a simple car that tends to cotter pin. I believe that's where it came from. In Cars 3, just a minor background character. Cars on the Road did this a lot, though, with reusing models. Now, I don't mind for cars like this. If you want to take a car from the background, like Bill Revs, take his model and basically make him into a main character, why not? I don't really see a problem with it. But taking cars like Sterling's model, making a whole nother character out of it, K-Pillar Durrev, I think that's a little cheap, and just, I don't know. I didn't care for that as much, but cars like this, I didn't really care. Of course, his whole paint color scheme is much, much brighter on Griswold, which is cool. I definitely like Griswold much more. Same wood paneling, like decaling on the side. Very common for a lot of station wagons to have stuff like this with the wood on the side. Now, in the actual Cars world, I don't think that their colors are actually that different. Maybe it's a thing from maybe being out in the sun more. Probably just faded more, made him a little bit more dull with Bill Revs. But Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just more of a Mattel thing. Mattel probably just made them a different color, because if you look in the artwork, Griswold's really not that bright. It's probably more similar to the color of Bill Rev's. So, probably more just something Mattel screwed up on, which they do many times. Very cool. Also, I forgot to mention, Griswold has these really cool muddy tires. They actually did a good job detailing them. Nice little treads as well. Gray rims instead of orange rims. It does seem to be accurate so far. On the back, I'm glad at least that they changed the rust decaling around, because they really didn't have to. I don't think anyone would have noticed. But nice that they did. Opaque windows, you can't see inside, of course. Thailand likes to do that. Same taillights though, from the looks of it. And yeah, not as much of a vivid trim around the windows, the silver trim. Still has a plastic eye plate, unfortunately, or fortunately, who knows, whatever you like better. I personally would prefer them not to have plastic eye plates, but they are pretty cool. At least it allows them to change the expression more on cars, but they didn't with K-Pill or Durev, so it kind of defeats the purpose of an eye plate. Nice little humped eyelashes though. Yeah, I'm not crazy about this expression. I do like it. I just don't think it really resembles what Griswold looked like in the show, how she acts. But, I mean, it's still pretty cool. I just love this character. I love the whole Bigfoot thing in Cars on the Road. And I just love this episode. But I do have to say, I do prefer the Road Rumblers episode just a little bit to the Legend. Because I think once Ivy came in the episode, any fear that we had of the Sasquatch kind of just left. I think it would have been cool if they would have kept that going, rather than having the hip music playing with Ivy dancing around. Like, that kind of ruined it for me, just a little bit. I didn't hate Ivy though. I definitely liked her more than Cruz. I didn't find her as annoying. But, yeah, I would have liked more Bigfoot in the episode. I would have liked a more carified Bigfoot, and I would have liked them to actually show a Bigfoot, or a big wheel, as I should say. But I did love the Cryptid Hunters, and hopefully, I know they will release them eventually, but the deluxe line has been canceled, so not really quite sure how we'll get Clutch Humboldt, the RV, because he's obviously pretty big. Have no idea how we'll get him as a release now. Probably in a 3-pack or a multi-pack, they'll figure it out. But Red, the fire truck, is actually getting released with Stanley in a 2-pack of all things, and they're just slightly enlarging the plastic blister, so I guess it can be done. Who knows? Maybe Clutch Humboldt will be released in a 2-pack, but I don't know, I find that hard to believe. Who knows though? They'll probably scale him down a bit, but I hope not. I hope they make him a very nice and worthy release, because I'd like to have a complete team of Bigfoot hunters. Now, as for Margaret Motorray, they have released that model before. It's one of the well, actually the same model as Sergeant Highgear, pretty much. The guards at the Palace in London in Cars 2. So they released that model before, never from Thailand. So it'll be interesting. Maybe. I believe she would have been a deluxe as well. But, of course, with no deluxe line, how are they going to release her? Who knows? Although I do think she's much smaller, obviously. So she'd have no problem fitting into a 2-pack. Probably how they'll do it. Or they'll just enlarge the blister, like they did with Doug Krinkle, who's coming soon. Probably a car that would have been a deluxe as well, but as actually they're making fit into a single packaging. But who knows? Anyways, I hope that they get released soon. Thank you guys for watching. Tell me down below, which was your favorite episode of Cars on the Road? Did you like the Legend as much as me? Because I know a lot of people didn't. I don't know, I thought it was a lot of fun though. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time on the Cars Garage.